Hi everyone and welcome back to another art journal video. And today is a really special day for me since it's the day of the release of my new scrapbooking collection, which is called Dewdrops. Again, in collaboration with Stamperia. This is the 12 by 12 paper pad, and I will be using inspiration obviously from this collection. I am browsing through the papers really quickly, so you can see that this is actually a background paper pad, making it really easy to cut through it and use it on your projects. But of course you will get those pages that you can cut out elements to use them as your focal points. And you can see the collection gives a calm vibe full of pastel colors in pale pinks and pale blues, along with a little bit of brown. And of course today I will be using this collection. I am planning to share lots and lots of videos, not only on art journaling but also in card making. I will be making mixed media projects to inspire you. So let's start today with my 6x6 journal, just like every Tuesday. And I will pick first my focal points. So these are the cutout pages that you can just pop out all the elements. You don't have to do any fuzzy cutting. You can see there are many designs and I made sure that they are quite big so they work on your bigger journals as well. These are great elements to mix and match to create your clusters. They are completely matte and thin. They have the thickness of the standard paper pad page. So just like always on this little journal, I will start with my rice paper as my background. You can definitely use a piece of pattern paper if you like and stick it down. I like rice paper because it's super thin and it doesn't add bulk on my journal, but it is definitely an option. I did cut it out to be a little square, as you can see, just smaller than my page. My page is 6x6, so I believe this is 5x5 if I am not mistaken, just leaving a white border all around. I did use my rice paper glue to stick it down and I cover it all to seal it down with rice paper glue as well. Now let's move on to the next step. It's where I like to add a little bit of white. I'm using white acrylic paint and I'm going to apply it in different areas with my spatula. Now you see, as I apply it, I am going to add too much by mistake, like here for example, which is really easy to work around just because we did seal our rice paper before. So just with a baby wipe I can wipe off some of it. This way it looks like a wash. It doesn't cover what is underneath, but at the same time it does make your background look more pale. Now I like this look and I don't mind if I cover up some of the details on the background. You do what you like. I know some people are going to say, why did you cover this up? I didn't cover. It's still there. You can see all the layers. Maybe with all those lights you cannot really tell, but I didn't cover it. It looks like a wash. So all the layers are still visible since this looks semi-transparent. Now it's time to do some stamping and I'm using one of my new stamp sets. Again, I designed a background stamp set and I made sure to give you lots of visual textures. So you will find a crackle, a couple of text stamps, you will find numbers, even a ticket, circles, coffee stains and some splatters. It's one of those stamp sets that you can use again and again for pretty much every background in your art journaling journey. I'm using black permanent ink to do my stamping, and of course you can either use a stamping block or just go and stamp everything with your fingers. Now here I am going to switch from the numbers stamp to one of the coffee stain ones, and again I'm not going to switch colors. I will keep on stamping with my black permanent ink. Notice that I always like to stamp into clusters, so I started with the numbers in a couple of areas and that's where I used the circle stamp as well. And I'm going to add a third stamp. This is the ticket one, which again I'm going to stamp just close to where I did the other stamping. I never go for the perfect stamping, if you notice. I make sure that I don't press all over the stamp so that I don't get the perfect impression. I like to have more organic looks for my visual texture. And now this is the new stencil that I designed. It gives you 3 different areas to play with. You will find your icicles, in two different designs on both those edges, as well as the center gives you lots of snowflakes. I'm going with the snowflakes at the center, and for that I'm going to go with volume paste. White paste, any texture paste would do. I like volume paste because it is super thick and it's so forgiving. It stays in place, it doesn't seep underneath the stencil, and I have perfect results every time. And I'm super happy with how my background looks. I'm going to leave it aside for the volume paste to dry, and in the meantime I'm going to pop out my focal points. So I decided to go with the lady holding the cup. No fuzzy cutting involved, I just pop her out, and you see it doesn't give you any border at all. And these are printed front and back, so you can have her facing either way. Now I'm going to pop out some extra designs since I want to create a cluster for her. And this is a really fun process for me. Sometimes I just pop out all the elements so I know what I can play with. I play with the elements, reposition them, and once I'm happy with the placement, then I go ahead and stick them down. Today I decided not to use my big brush markers. I'm going to leave the colors as they are. I made sure that as I was designing all these elements, they were quite vibrant. So just because I do have a very pale background, everything pops out just fine as far as I can see. So I'm happy with how it looks. I'm just going to grab my rice paper glue and stick everything down. Now, rice paper glue is normally made for sticking rice paper, which is very thin. However, you can definitely use it for sticking thin paper to thin paper, which is the case here. I also like the rice paper glue just because it dries completely matte and you cannot see where you have applied it. I have a few extra snowflakes to stick on my background. So on my background I do have snowflakes which were printed on the rice paper. I do have snowflakes from the stencil which are dimensional, and then I'm sticking some snowflakes again on top from the cutouts. And now let's do some doodling. I'm using a very fine black marker and I'm adding some sketchy lines on the cutouts. You see, the moment I apply that sketchy line here and there, it kind of pops against the background even more. It helps all the elements to stand against each other. I think it really makes a big difference. I'm not trying to do the perfect outline, as I always say, only sketchy lines here and there. Just try to feel free, don't overthink it. Really quickly is the best way to go. And then I will repeat the same process, this time with my white gel pen, just adding some highlights in different parts of the cutouts. I love the look. I feel always that it gives a more whimsical look and feel. It kind of brings the same detail on everything, so they look as part of the same page. And in the cutouts you will find a page which is full of sentiments, quotes and sentiments that can be used on cards or journals. I'm using one of those for my page today. And this is a really long one. I like to cut them to make them smaller and so that I can stick them in different parts of my page. I use the one that says embrace the chill, find the warmth within. And if you follow my videos, you already know what's the last step for this page before I call it done. White splatters. And that was the project for today. I hope that you had fun, that you got inspired. Links to everything I used can be found down below in the description, but remember this is the first day of the release, so maybe some of the products haven't arrived to the shops yet. Just give them a couple of days and you will find them on all your favorite shops worldwide.